Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. Yes, definitely worth celebrating. Here's your host, Shyzabox. Oh, is the show starting? It must be. Oh, we heard our introduction. That must be for us. Oh, they love us. Always well received. Get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome nuns and all. That's right. Priests, preachers, bishops, rabbis, cardinals, missionaries, preachers, whoever's around, out and about, gallivanting on this lovely Sunday morning-ish time frame. Whenever you are watching this, it's nighttime for me. So it is, or whatever. Point is that we were thinking to ourselves, how are we going to fill that of the time in the day, all right, that we have the capacity to do, okay? Now, you might be saying, like, do something productive. Sure. But when we were thinking to ourselves yesterday, like, we have Mayo Mental up and running now, all right? So we'll jump on real quick last night. Did a quick little mention that it was available, all right? But Mayo Mental is now playable, right? A full working demo, right? For anyone who thought they needed a mayonnaise digital music player, you can go to the IPFS site now. You can go down in the audio section, okay, under the LimeWire inspired music player, under the digital kalimba, which is awesome. Right under the digital kalimba, you will, find the Mayo Mental Granny's Mayo Musical Simulator. Okay? Now you might be saying, that sounds ridiculous. Believe you me, it's not something we ever fathomed making or offering on the IPFS site itself. Yes, hello and hi. Nadra. We can call you Nadra, right? Of course we can. So, and money. We got the Mayo Mental up and running on the site, okay? And believe you me, it's not anything that we ever thought that we would make. But when someone was, ironically, whether serious or not, messing around in the chat, okay, a couple streams ago, and they asked, is mayonnaise an instrument? Well, it is now. It is now. And not only that, you can play it till your heart's content. That's right. It's available for free on the IPFS. You don't even need to, go and buy anything, okay? Yes, we peddle our literary wares. We, peddle the games that we make and whatnot and say, yes, they're free. We have the arcade open, but maybe you want to go to Cashapp and drop a quarter in the, arcade terminal. But you don't have to, because it's free. And just like this show, we try and retain everything in as free form as we can. The only thing that's behind any sort of paywall in any way, shape, or form are our literary endeavors, okay, which can be found on the Amazon.coms, all right? And those are the only things behind a little bit of a literary paywall, okay? Daddy's got to eat. And after he eats, we're left over with the leftovers, okay? And believe you me, Daddy eats most everything, and we're left with minimal leftovers. But that's okay, because we have our daily bread. That's right. That's all we need, really, right? When all of these demos, all of these, tools, all of these, appenditures with which you can, play around with, mess around with, and whatnot, come to full fruition, all right? When complete working demos get, put in working order and such like that, and we got games in complete working order and stuff like that, but let's be honest, a lot of stuff resides in demo-esque type status and states, and it's because of, the desire to want to create constantly, okay, which we just enjoy anyway, all right, but we want to create stuff with the community, okay? That's what's fun. That's right. That's why if you go to the LimeWire inspired music player that we made, okay, one of the themes on there, the I Done theme, okay, we called it the I Done update when we finally rolled it out, we made that theme with the community, okay? It was someone's idea to joke on us for sounding like a pirate, right? Whatever. Now, on the LimeWire-inspired music player in every single theme, there's dancing stick figures, okay? Not only that, but they are interacted with an entity corresponding to the theme of choice. So there's 6 themes available now. The I Done one is the one that kicked it all off, okay, as far as everyone saying, like, hey, we want our LimeWire-inspired music player to have stick figures that random stuff happens to, right? Of course you do. Yes, let us check the chat. Emoji face, emoji face, emoji face, some prayer emoji faces. Yes, excellent. Thank you for the comments. So, when you go to the different themes, all right, the stick figures, they get interacted with differently. So the yes, hello, and hi, to the Risha. Yes, excellent. The different themes, the stick figures that interacted with differently. You go the I Done one, a pirate comes and knocks them all over while they're dancing, while you're listening to your own curated musical playlist. That's right. It's hilarious. You should see it. Our personal favorite is the Ember theme, where all the stick figures are dancing, and the guy runs by on fire and lights them all on fire, and they start dancing around. Ah, we're on fire, we're on fire. You know, self-immolation isn't, you know, a desired outcome or anything like that, but it's funny. They're stick figures, okay? It's not real, all right? It's all working, all available on the IPFS site, okay? You just go down to the audio section right after the arcade and stuff like that. If you can make it that far without stopping off to play a game, all right? It won't be hard. Hey, we do our best as our team of one, independent researcher, all right? Extraordinaire. Yeah, we get to make our own titles up. It's our show too, so we get to do that. Point being is that we couldn't do some of what we do, all right, if it weren't for the great ideas that we get when people are picking on us. No, you laugh, Internet. It's because you're a ruthless bunch. That's right, you would celebrate that. We know that whenever you're in charge of naming entities, they get results like Bodie McBoatface. And believe you me, that got our vote too. That's right, Internet. Because we hail from the time of when we were, you know, in the wild, wild west of the initial internet stages, before all of the not AOL online disc chat rooms, before DSL, okay, back when the internet was truly wild, okay, think computer games, okay, all right, things of that nature, not the type of computer games you're thinking of. Think war games on computer games, like the movie from like the 80s, okay, fantastic flick. Point being that they remade that movie years later. I don't think we've ever seen the remake. We had the opportunity to, but we chose not to because, well, we probably didn't have time, or it might have cost money to see at the time. Doesn't matter, okay? The point is that we love making stuff with the community. If it weren't for the random ideas that come in, like someone saying, as a joke or not, is mayonnaise an instrument? Right? You think that you hijack the show, but no, you just make our show better, okay? And, ironically, maybe inherently, being an avid aficionado, okay, of a mayonnaise-inspired or induced musical, you know, practitioner of themselves, okay, maybe that was the guise and premise and everything under which they really legitimately desired or needed a working digital mayonnaise musical player. That's why we introduced Mayo Mental for their benefit. That's right. Some people just don't want to admit it, okay? Some people don't want to sit back and say, hey, you know what? I want to fist a jar of mayonnaise and make some music, okay? Well, we don't either, okay? But obviously someone did, okay? So leave it to good old Shyzabox. That's right. We will make your dreams a reality. Yes, hello and hi. Hello and hi. All right, so where were we? Yes. So as we sit on this glorious Sunday and think to ourselves, the Mayo Mental music demo's up and running. It can be improved drastically, okay? But we don't feel like it. But we might. Well, we will. We'll tweak with it and play with it eventually, okay? Unless someone says, get on it, Shyzabox, okay? Because let's be honest, when you're not under an NDA, like we are not, when you don't work for some big major entity, like we do not, then we'll make whatever you guys want. What do you guys want on the IPFS? What do you want a game about, huh? We've already done it. We make games, we put them up. We've made working demos, we put them up. Okay? Whenever we get around to it, sometimes day of. What would you like to be made? We made Joey's Meat Run. We made it on the stream with the community. It's available. It's on the IPFS site. You can go play it yourself. Right? You don't have to take our word for it. Bold claim, Cotton. You can't just claim stuff nowadays. There's fact of the checkers. Yes, yes. Heart, heart. Brokey heart. Heart, heart, heart. Brokey heart. Question heart, heart. Question heart. Yes, well, when you're questioning the heart, thank you for the chat. When you're questioning the heart that one puts into their works and their iterations of, working demos, games, things that they undertake, we understand that you would have some broken heart within the love, okay, of knowing that the Mayo Mental demo is not in its final working form. That's right, that's right. We understand your frustration, Internet. You're right to boo that, okay? When we say we don't feel like fixing it now, okay? We don't mean we'll never fix it. We just mean that as of yesterday, all right, when it was conceptualized, it was introduced therein yesterday as well. Go yourself and play it. So, as we venture on, we have to always keep in mind that, hold on, management's calling. They think they know how to run the place. Let's just take a sec. What do you want? We're on time. We're doing the show. Uh-huh. Yeah. No, we haven't yet. No, yes, sir. Believe you me, we were going to. Mm-hmm. Oh, we tried to knock that out quite some time ago. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, no, we definitely will, boss. Absolutely. Of course we will, boss. Don't you worry. Yeah. Oh, no, great call. All right. What a worthless call. Management, they think they know how to run this place. But it is a happenstance that, via reminder or not, it is this point in the show that we like to take the time to apologize for our last stream. So, sorry about that. All right, excellent. Now that we have apologized for all of our past endeavors, forgive and forget, right? Excellent. Point being that now, as we venture into the rest of the Sunday, do we work on an update for the Mayo Mental demo? Do we take it easy? Do we watch a show? Maybe a movie? Pop on some Lord of the Rings Extended Edition? Yeah. Where should we devote our time? Should we write some more of our literary works and endeavors? Oh, you're just celebrating everything, Internet. Well, wasn't that funny, but yes, delayed response warranted. As we venture into, the rest of the Sunday itself, we like to sit back and think how afforded and lucky in the opportunity we are, all right, to create that of what we do with the community, all right? Because all of these dead-end links on the IPFS site that don't necessarily go anywhere now, right, that are active placeholders, okay? If you hit a 404 error on looking for a site, or a 400 error, it's a lot different from hitting a 500 error, okay? If you hit a 500 error, you're doing it right, you just need to wait your turn, okay? Or go to an extension that, goes a little faster, okay? When you venture out upon yourself to, take upon what you do in your day and routine, keep in mind that whatever you do, you probably only do once right then and there. Not a joke, so do it well, or do it well enough to where it's not a problem later. But again, everything here's for philosophical entertainment. We give no advice with which anyone should do and or be privy or act upon or interact with, anything that they will. Everyone's responsible for their own actions, right? That's right, Internet. Something to celebrate. That's why when we take random stuff and, do anything crazy, like throw, that's our fault, But is it our fault, or is that management's fault? For us having to prove a point, all right, live on stream. All sorts of ways to look at it, but while we reflect on that, let's take the time now okay, to go ahead, venture out, and let's cleanse the air, and let's read some good old-fashioned poetry. That's right, it's poetry time. You might be thinking to yourself, poetry sucks, right? No, no. Don't laugh at that. It wasn't funny. Poetry does not suck. Poetry's awesome. That's right. And every good philosopher needs to have a poetry book, right? That's why we do. Hey, now, we're not saying we're a good philosopher, but we got a poetry book. That's right. It's half of the argument right there. If one can't part ways with their innermost thoughts and desires of the heart, spirit, soul, and mind, right? How can they truly philosophize? Okay, if they don't lay it all out there on the line. If they don't put their heart on their sleeve, all right, and showcase that of which is, you know, innately a part of one's own existence. That's right. So before we venture into our, you know, poetry book, before we read you some of our personal, collected, you know, writings that we have introduced into the ether of Amazon.the.com and Kindle of the .unlimited, or there's probably no dot in there, but they do have free trials, and if you read all of our works on that during a free trial, don't laugh, we get, what, 0.04 cents for every page read. That's right. We'll be making ones of cents in no time, just like we did last month when we made 11 cents in our literary readership. You laugh, Internet. We're a paid author. We're investing that money right back here on the show. That's right. It'll pay off in no time with an upgraded camera or an upgraded microphone. When we're making 11 cents a month, it's not a joke. We're a paid author. We're reinvesting. We're putting it here. Hell, we might end up with a roof one day. It's not a joke, Internet. All right, let's get some poetry reading going on. Now, this one, because we touch base with our inner philosopher, okay, we want to touch base with outer philosopher, okay? Now, outer philosophers would be those of philosophies past that have come and gone, and most of them are all old and dead. Well, it's not a joke. It's a life cycle. Not anything to necessarily laugh at, like, oh, look at Aristotle. He's old as shit and dead. Again, not a joke, Internet, but you're a ruthless bunch. You would celebrate stuff like that. Now, of course you would. When you think pre-Stoic philosophy, like we venture and endeavor upon, you think of stuff even before those of the greats. All right? So in our poetry book, okay, How Poetry Cometry, How Cometry Poetry, okay, available on Amazon.com and Kindle Unlimited, okay, that's right, celebrate. There is one that we wrote, near and dear to our heart, okay, addressed to one of the greats themselves, Socrates, that's right. Okay, but we can't just venture into our poetry book and start reading willy-nilly, okay, without first cleansing the air. Well, you laugh, Internet, but it's true. You can't inherently just start reading run-of-the-mill poetry and expect nothing to go awry or crazy or astray, okay? That's right. It's because of that foundational knowledge, okay, that we, having not only grown up in a pond, but been privy to the first-hand knowledges that were disseminated therefrom. 90s sitcoms, televisions, movies, and the like. That's right. All right. So you know how you inherently need to cleanse the air when you're going to do a poetry reading, right? Yeah. Well, you laugh. There's a technique, and it's been handed down generation after generation. Before you read poetry, so like we will from our poetry book, you need to cleanse the air, all right? This is done before people get, usually to poetry clubs, things of that nature. There's a cleansing that goes on. Now, some people might call it nightly service or breakdown, okay, or like the closing duties at a bar, cleaning bathrooms, cleaning tables, vacuuming, sweeping, mopping, this, that, the other, especially like, comedy clubs, any musical hall or anything like that where a show gets put on, and, there's a tendency for, a venue to become a little messy, okay? Yeah. It happens. As you embark on these things, there is a cleansing that happens, and we cannot digress and neglect the need to do such exactly here. You hit the pause shite button, okay? And you go ahead and do what needs to be done. That's right. So, let's cleanse the air really quick before we dive into the poem, because we don't want to, permeate into the aether unjust poetry, okay? That's right. If you don't cleanse the aether around your existence before you start reciting poetry near and dear to your heart, you're going to have all sorts of Joey creep into it. That's right. Something to boo. If it's from Joey, it's a no-y. You laugh at the catchphrase, okay? And you love the catchphrase. That's right. Yes, we know. But what you need to keep in mind and what you need to take into account is Joey himself. That's right. You need to adhere to the standards and practices laid out from movies in the 90s, sitcoms in the 90s, this, that, the other, whatever. It doesn't matter. But as we take it upon ourselves, we're going to cleanse the air, and we'll get right into the poem. That's right. You might be saying, hurry up, we want to hear it. We're getting there. We will read our poem on Socrates. But before we do that, got to cleanse the atmosphere. Got to cleanse the air. Got to make the aether what it needs to be. Okay? And the best way to do that is the old-fashioned way. That's right. Now, before you get started, you really need to be centered to a certain degree. All right? So, in order to cleanse the air, it takes 3. That was 2. Everyone knows this. That's watching 90s sitcoms, obviously. 3. Excellent. All right. Air's cleansed, and we can commence with the poetry. All right. You can imagine what it's like if you jump straight in without cleansing the air. Your lips permeate into the ether, but you can't get back. It runs right through Joey. That's right. It's from Joey. It's a no-y. All right. Let's get into this poem. Okay, now, again, available on Amazon.com. Just search Shyzabox Books or Kindle Unlimited. We appreciate it if you do. That's right. Something to celebrate internet on occasion. Some people might want to read our literary works. Don't worry about it. This one's called Socrates. Socrates. Boss. Careful. Looks like hemlock. Looks right. That much is known. Next time around, don't you dare drink. Fight for love, for that of home. Let not city decide your fate. Roll over. Do not do. Poison only rots the mind, killing you throughout. Resist or don't. Poison's bad. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. That was pretty deep. You might be saying to yourself, it absolutely was. Absolutely was. It absolutely was. And when you think of how deep that was, just imagine the rest of the findings that you would find to be housed in the inner workings, okay, of one who shares that of what they have in their innermost workings with that of, the general public, the general populace, okay? Anyone who may or may not endeavor to venture upon the fun, the new, the daring, okay? Poetry is one thing. Like we said, every good philosopher needs their own poetry book. That's right. We claim not to be good. We do claim to philosophize. And we at least get to be in the argument for it because we got a poetry book. We don't have to be a great philosopher. But, we're in the conversation somewhere or another. So we got a poetry book. Makes sense. But to set ourselves apart, we didn't want just any regular poetry book, right? That's right. Anyone can make a poetry book. We are going to venture to share with you some of the section, How Cometry Poetry. That's right. Something to celebrate, Internet, not something we do often. But as the air is still cleansed and clear, okay? What's that? Looks like a little bit of Joey creeping in. Hold on. Just need to back him up a little bit. Excellent. All right. That should work. We're going to share with you a deeper thought, okay, that should resonate entirely with your reasoning behind what resonates with you. That's right. Now this thought here, okay, that we extracted from that of our psyche and consciousness, we wish to impart, all right, upon that of yours, should you be willing to entertain and endeavor on it. That's right. We can't force you to, come into that of our ego or psyche or conscious. Okay? One must do so on their own accord, efforts, and merit. Okay? We can lead the horse to the IPFS site. We can't make them play any of the games. They're on there. We can lead the horse to the IPFS site. We can't make them curate their own music on our LimeWire-inspired musical player. We can lead the horse to the IPFS, but we can't make academics and academia audit our working swarm mesh demo and material cutoff audit tool. So as we share this little thought, okay, from our poetry book, okay, just think how these thoughts can resonate or correlate. Are you ready? Yeah, we've been ready. Okay, just making sure. How come seeing is believing when seeth you do not? Something to think about, huh? That's right. It's these times when we have thoughts lingering on how we can truly make use of the times we're afforded opportunity to do things with that we choose not to do things with that we can do, right? There's times when you might be a procrastinator, or you might want to put something off until later, tomorrow, this, that, the other. Yeah, you never know. Could be. For some would be. For some should be. When we introduce demos, things like Mayo Mental, all right, it's not something we ever anticipated or thought of making. Okay? It's not anything that we ever pondered being like, hey, you know what? We really need to make a digital Mayo Mental music simulator, throw that bad boy on the IPFS, and let people fist that jar of mayo until their heart's content. We did it because the public wanted it. That's right. Okay? The populace cared for it. Okay? They endeavored to venture upon the desire of wanting to play such an apparatus. Now, whether implicitly asked for or not, therein lies the ability to discern what ones mean by their comment or comments. Okay? People go through all the time past, records and past thoughts and past experiences, okay? Replay them, reread them, relive them, okay, in a variety of ways. Okay? Those committed to video, those committed to audio, those committed to memory. They all function inherently the same as reminders, but they all inherently portray things differently as working artifacts and witnesses and accounts thereof. Okay? The mechanics are extremely different between one's interpretation of reality and another's viewing of that reality through a mechanical lens, like a recorded audio, video or something like that. All right? The dynamics shift and change, and, there is a theoretical entropic, dissipation that occurs, all right, in the correlation and resonances there too. Now, when you're fundamentally working on the ground floor level, like we are with Daryl Dixon Dibs, okay, that's right, we claim to be in the best of the worst internet celebrity, okay, we call Dibs, Daryl Dixon Dibs, everyone's familiar with it, that's right. When we claimed it on our IPFS site, we knew then and there that we needed to rack up that crossbow. Metaphorically, we don't have a crossbow. We should get one, though. But we don't need one. Maybe, though, we could get a digital one. That's one we can afford. Now, you laugh. You're giving us an idea. I think we need a digital crossbow to play with. That's right. Maybe we can do something along those lines. Ooh, a bolt-action old-school one. Medieval stuff. Ooh, that sounds fun. Yeah. Maybe we'll start looking into any of that stuff. That'll be extremely, something worthwhile to venture upon. That sounds like a fun endeavor, Internet. You see, it's these times where weather directly correlated with, one's interactions in the chat, with the hellos and highs, with the emojis, with the hearts. Yes, yes. It's the correlation between the ideas that can take hold on that ground floor level of the Daryl Dixon Dibs with that 0.41 watt input seed, okay? Where you just plant it just a little bit, push the little start button, okay? We push it a lot. Start, okay? So that's what we do. And ours says shite. You can't see it, it's reverses backwards, don't worry about it. But our button says shite because we need to hit the oh shite button a few times, okay? And that's because when you're doing metaphysical components and aspects of, theoretical endeavors and means of pursuing, metaphysics and things of that nature, you need to account for dynamics and shifting, venues and avenues in a working, living, functioning, breathing system, okay? That's what we try and take upon ourselves to do, and that's why it's very beneficial with the IPFS to be able to stay on track with that, okay? Because if there's one thing, if you can't catch the live streams, if you can't catch the videos, if you don't keep up with the literary works, you don't want to read Transmutating God and Nailing Kalimba because you only like theological philosophy and you don't like, more thought-out metaphysical philosophy with resonantial components, things of that aspect, or maybe you just like reading fun, angsty, angry philosophy, and you want to read pickled punk philosophy, okay? We try and offer in our literary endeavors a variety of offerings for whoever wishes to take them upon themselves, all right, to venture into and read. They are the only thing, okay, that in themselves contain that extraction of financial reciprocation, all right, unless you're doing the Kindle Unlimited read, which we get 0.04 cents per page read. That's right. That is the only reciprocality, all right, that we desire to have or wish to see on anything pertaining to this show, okay? We want this show to always remain free. We'll never paywall this content by exclusive membership or offering things on other foreign sites, even our own site, okay, that is contradictory or implicitly, you know, a addition to what should inherently remain here and be free, okay? That's right, something to celebrate. Now with, you know, the IPFS and the time and everything that we dedicate to that, that's all, you know, up for, you know, time and manners of what gets devoted to thereof. But without being, you know, in a situation right now where we don't have an NDA that we're under, you guys got a cosmological philosopher, not under an NDA right now. What do you want? Okay? Email the channel. We'll make it. Okay? We got time. Okay? Luckily, we're blessed to have it. That's right. Now, you know, we don't have the financial backings and things like that. Not a joke. They're just forthcoming with you, Internet. You know, there's only so much time that we can devote to creating monumental, you know, demo upgrades and things like that without incentivization, not even incentivization. Let's retract that, okay? We called Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst internet celebrity there is, okay? We called it, just straight up. Yes, laughter warranted, okay? We called dibs. Now, some people are hurt by the fact that we did that. That's right. They can't accept the fact that we did it first. We called Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst, okay? But this is the ground floor level, all right? It can only get better from here. With that being the case, with us offering games and demos and LimeWire-inspired music players for that nostalgic old-school feel and feeling of, you know, listening to music, this, that, the other, from times past, all right? Then leave it to ourselves to, you know, not only want to share that of what we make, but we want to right now, while we're not under an NDA, while we're not trying to, you know, feed ourselves and, you know, make a roof over our heads, we want anything that we can devote time to now in our working manners and things of that nature to be of benefit to whoever wants them, of benefit to them, okay? Not everyone can go and, you know, hire someone to make a game or make an application or anything like that, okay? That stuff costs time, it costs money, all right? Now, if we're being honest, you know, we're not the best developer that there is. We know that. We didn't go to school for it. But if you want something and you can't bark up any other trees, good old Shyzabox would be very, very pleased. That's right. We love making stuff with the community. We've made the trash bin or whatever. It's a game that, yes, we're going to migrate and move to the arcade again there, and we'll get a different placeholder. But now we've made the Mayo Mental demo, all right? That's holding a place that was a dead-end link. A big thanks to Lil, you know, whoever was in the chat there. That's fantastic. What was a joke, what was a guise, you know, is now a reality, okay? The Mayo Mental demo exists, okay? Our granny comes in at about 6'7", when you're dipping the fist in the mayo jar. Favorite tone, or not, doesn't matter. Point is that with these things there, with these things available, everything like that, we want to continue to create more. We want to continue to bring more to the community, and now's the best time. Maybe that NDA never comes. Maybe poor old Shyzabox keeps making 11 cents a month, you know, until whenever, all right? But if that's the case, we hope that it's of benefit then, that of what we do offer an ad, all right, becomes of sustenance or relevance to someone else. You don't need to kick us $1 to listen to your own files on our LimeWire-inspired music player, okay? We made it to share. We made it because we love music, okay? You got to curate and procure your own files. You know, we can't provide that stuff for you, but what we can do is provide the player for you. We can make upgrades to it. You don't even got to pay us for it. We'll do that shit for free. That's right, okay? We don't seek the finances. We don't seek the clout. We don't seek the fame or the fortune, okay? because we called Daryl Dixon dibs on being the best of the worst, okay? We're not going to compete with those entities that have these massive apparati around them that are able to, throw stuff together with endless funds and means and measures and things of that nature, okay? We just can't compete with that financially as an independent researcher party as one. That's right. Now, you boo all you want, okay? We can offer, though, that of what we can do, and we can try and offer it to the best of the abilities that we can. That's right. And that's what's worth celebrating, Internet. So as we think to ourselves, how do we want to proceed? How do we want to venture forth and go forward? We think we are going to leave stuff up and running for just a minute, okay? In fact, we think we'll be back in 5 minutes or something like that. But we're not just going to leave you high and dry, Internet. That's right. We got to do what every good show does. That's right. We got to leave a note saying that we'll be back in 5 minutes. Now, you might be asking, what the hell are you going to do? Don't worry about it. But, believe you me, if you were to venture to guess, we're out of swill, we're going to go get more. Okay? No, Internet, we're not just going to leave you high and dry. Let's see, this is my mark. All right. Now, you all are to be on your best behavior while we're gone, okay? We're just running out to get a little more yum, okay? So we can continue having fun. In the meantime, you can go to the IPFS site. You can download the digital kalimba, okay? You can record some songs, okay, that you make. All right, you can play any of the games on there. All right, terrific. And you can do any of the other working demos on there. Fantastic. But we're not just going to leave you and not tell you where we're going. So obviously, this says back in 5. And whoever in the chat is going to have to tell people, hey, look at that. It even says it in the right fashion and form. You don't get that with just every internet channel. That's right. So, believe you me, we'll come back when we feel like it. It won't be too long. We'll be back in 5 minutes about, though. So, where's our trusty steed? We know it's around here somewhere as we venture off. Bring our trusty steed in here. Excellent. Excellent. Here she comes now. Excellent. Oh, good job, girl. Commence. We will be back in 5 minutes. Okay. Excellent. You best be on your best behavior while we're gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, we resume Shyzalosophy 101. Yeah, that's great. Here's your host, Shyzabox.
Oh, we're back with a vengeance! Oh, that's our introduction again! Oh, thank you for the introduction. So nice. Get out of here. And the horse you rode in on. Excellent, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. Perfect. You might be saying to yourself, what the hell was that? Nah, don't worry about it. As we thought to ourselves, if there's one thing we needed, it was another pick-me-up. That's right. On occasion, even the best of the worst internet celebrities that there are, like ourselves, we call Daryl Dixon Dibs, even the best of the worst internet celebrities that there are need to fuel their fire, need to fuel their passion, right? That's right. And believe you me, when we get to about cup number sip 7, yes, very clever. You may touch us through the internet. That's enough touching. We don't know where you've been. Excellent. You may say that you've touched an internet celebrity today. Point being is that as we take cup number sip 7, we think to ourselves, with these demos being up and running, with these games being up and running on the IPFS site, we could probably take all sorts of more breaks during streams. We could actually just tell people like, yeah, hey, we're going to upload some new code real quick. We'll be right back. Maybe that'll work for our bosses too. We'll call management. Hey, put management on the phone. Hey, we're going to start coding some during working hours, you know, because that's work too. No, don't worry about it if we're doing the stream now. We're just updating you. You said open lines of communication, boss. Yep, just trying to fill those roles. You're welcome. Yeah, management think they know how to run the place. Tell you what, they want you to update them with things that you plan on doing so that they can stay ahead of, you know, the problems that you create. All bosses say that, probably their employees. The minute that you do, obviously, it becomes a little bit more of an issue. But as we sit back, as we think that, you know, these games, these demos, these, you know, things that are in working order on the site itself, what good old-fashioned ways, okay, to just have a good, genuine, interactable time like you would back in the day on like a angelfire.of.com or one of those intertwined just website creation endeavors, man, where you could interact and just have some good old-fashioned fun. Maybe, you know, yeah, find some new creative things to see or interact with or play with, whether it's for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes a time, whether it's a site that you want to download and run yourself and, you know, use as your own node and things of that nature to help get it out there more, okay? We welcome that. We love that. Okay? Anything that benefits the general populace that desires, you know, for it to be easier, more obtainable, more, you know, accessible for one and all, that's a fantastic thing for everyone. That's right. That's something to celebrate, Internet. Point being that as we round out the rest of the morning here, as we think to ourselves, how serious are we about making some sort of crossbow simulator or crossbow engine or a crossbow digital apparatus? We got a couple ideas now, like aiming at a target, aiming at things, maybe turn the FPS, our Shiler Sick Joey FPS, maybe turn that into a crossbow instead of the gun that we have on there. I don't know. Possibilities are endless. What could we do with a digital, crossbow? What apparatus, what venue would it be fun in? All right? Maybe just a diagram of an old school crossbow would be cool too, you know, to just look at and dissect. Maybe we could add that to the visual side. In fact, I think we're onto something, Internet. I think that we could make a old school type, fun, visually pleasing diagram aesthetic, all right, of a crossbow, medieval-esque type, appendature apparatus or whatever. And that'd just be cool to look at, right? No, we think so. Now, let's be honest. It's going to be some rounded curves on some aspects and components of that, so ours might look like squares and blocks. Now, the first demos. Yeah? We like this idea that we're going with. We should probably write it down. All right. It's not something that we like to do often, as you know. It takes a little bit of time, but believe you me, all right, you guys are able to entertain yourselves. Okay, you're able to go to the IPFS and even get one of the games on there real quick. Okay. Yeah, fantastic. All right, so if we were to do a working. Interesting. All right. That'll be a good, fun little project. All right. Now you might be saying to yourself, hurry up, go make it. Hey. We'll do that when we do that, okay? Because we don't want to just get stuff up and running, okay, in unfinished and very rough forms and formats, okay? Now, Mayo Mental is in kind of one of those barely finished demo type things because it was made in jest, because it was made out of jest, because it was conceptualized via jest, all right? It just kind of is then what it is right now, all right? So do we fine-tune it and make it better, or do we wait until someone asks or requests that it is made better, okay? Otherwise, it's just in jest right now. You might be saying that's some philosophical thought train of process you brought us down your conscientious psyche with. You're welcome. Believe you me, if there's one thing that, can happen, it's that you could go and venture down one psyche in their stream of consciousness if you were to partake in some of any aspects or components of their literary endeavors, of their verbal means, okay? The interaction that gets entangled, whence interacted, whether out of accidentalism and or out of intentionality, okay? The entanglement occurs, all right, and is thusly entangled. Okay? Now, it's not a joke. It legitimately is. Because all it takes is, one person going, hey, I watched that dude Shyzabox show on the internet. You know who he is? And someone's like, is that dude with the green hat? He looks like a pirate leprechaun or something, right? Whatever. Chasing the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, constantly, right? That's what we do. When we take it upon ourselves, okay, to venture down the thoughts of how things can correlate to one another, that entanglement occurs, all right, and it happens out of just the sheer introduction of any outside element, okay? That's why any entanglement results or arises from any interaction, okay? Now, metaphysics is crazy, and there's variable degrees to which that can happen, right? There's stuff on macro levels, and there's stuff on micro levels, okay? Theoretically. Again, this is all for philosophical entertainment. With there being the microcosm and the macrocosm, with there being the lithos and the logos, with there being, a genuine divide between all of these different apparatuses, it thusly makes sense for there to be a bridge within that can exist and does exist, and that's us. You're welcome. So, we will happily adjust or, take it upon ourselves to increase the yield of what we can generate as far as output, okay? As an independent researcher, team of one, all right? As we strive to increase that yield of our 11-cent gain in literary revenue sales last month. Not a joke, Internet. As we strive to get 12 cents, as we strive to get 13 cents, as we strive to get 14 cents, as we strive to get 15 cents, okay? Every attempt, all right, that we make is an entangled effort on our part, all right, to try and peddle and offer that of our wares that we wish to make and impart on those who want them. We don't want to force them on anyone, okay? Web3 is a crazy place. The wild, wild west of the internet, right? Of course it is. Okay? Web3 can house some interesting things, okay? For we ourselves, all right, wanting to venture out and take it to that next level, all right, we want infrastructure. We want lithic, hardcore, mechanical, interactable artifacts, okay, that exist in the digital realm and on the digital grid, especially in Web3, okay? That's why inherently, when we try and reach out, when we try and disclose the fact that we're not under an NDA or anything like that, it's an open call for anyone to wish it upon their own endeavors, all right, to reach out, all right, send an email, send a comment, and get your own Mayo mental up and running, okay? We'll happily do it. Okay? We ain't going to charge you anything, because we feel that if we do that of what is asked of us enough, maybe reciprocally, okay, that 11 cents will grow to 12 cents. 12 cents is 12 cents. Okay? We'll take any cents, okay, because we like common sense. That's right. Common sense dictates that we need the necessity of the construct of money, right? Now, our philosophical sense says that money is a construct. That's right. So, the need for a construct, therefore, is kind of contradictory to the need of, what that construct then represents, but because that construct represents what is therefore needed, we can pursue adequately that thereof, or at least attempt that, right? Being open now, right? Being available now, right, is a extra little fun endeavor, okay? We want to provide some fun, interactable experiences, okay, that anyone can undertake to have fun with or interact with if they want to, okay? Thusly, we feel we have delivered that, okay? We feel that we genuinely have, so now it's the tweaks and it's the additions there too, all right? So feel free to shoot us an email. Feel free to, audit our math on Kaggle. We got open notebooks and sources there and whatnot. We don't hide behind any of our stuff, and we share that of our works, okay, for the most part. So when we hit the pause shite button, and we think to ourselves, as we pause and look upon the infrastructure that exists, okay, we see the still missing links, okay, to the formal stuff, and that's a whole nother project in itself, okay. Good old Shyzabox has many a hand and many a fire. Some of them are hot, some of them don't burn as hot, Some of them are cold. Some of them are yet ignited, okay? But as a cosmological philosopher, again, all for philosophical entertainment, as a cosmological philosopher, dabbling in the metaphysical, it becomes very, very, very straightforward and direct to just go from point A to point B, bridging it with our own point C, and bringing it to that of you, the general, public or viewers with whom wish to embark or take it upon themselves to experience it, okay? You don't need to go play the games that we make for free. You can. You don't need to go listen to the LimeWire-inspired music player that we made for free. You can, okay? We offer these things for free because we don't want the infrastructure to be gate-kept the way that the infrastructure is gate-kept now, okay? There are ways to work with big tech. There are ways to work with giant companies and corporations, okay, that can help to house infrastructure on Web3, okay? They can help to house infrastructure and, mitigate the wild, wild west components of what decentralized, Web3 access can look like and what it should function as or could function as theoretically, okay? When we hit our pause shite button, okay, and we run our working notebooks on Kaggle and we formulate theory, hypotheses, reasonings, and or working functional programs themselves, okay, that can add to this exact, principle of belief and implementation, then it's because these things exist and because they can be added to via a big corporation that we leave them free as Apache 2.0, because these giant companies have the ability to house this. Now, a lot of them might be scared because of all the legal ramifications from digital file sharings, right? From these, digital object identifiers and things of that nature. Well, fear not. You can execute a cryptographically executable witness, okay, to any digital file. It goes for music files, video files, whatever, okay? You can give it a literal digital fingerprint, okay? We have shown this is very doable and proven that it is doable on Kaggle. Feel free to audit our notebooks and maths and things of that nature, and tell us that we are incorrect and wrong, because we've done it in a couple capacity and iterations now to where we literally can put a digital fingerprint on a digital item itself. So therefore, in itself alone, mitigating legal fees that are pertaining to copyrights and laws and this, that, the other, and ownership over files and things of that nature. All it takes is one Spotify, one Apple Music, one BMG music executive, one Sony Music, it doesn't matter who it is, okay, to track down non-NDA Shyzabox, who has a working Swarm Mesh demo, who has a working LimeWire-inspired music player, who has a working micro-sovereign blockchain IPFS site that has material cutoff audit tools on it, that has video on it, that has digital instruments on it, okay? As a developer and team of one, okay? This stuff exists. It's out there. All it takes is a company to house and, hold that entire node itself, and they got the reins to an entire city grid on the wild, wild west of the internet, okay? As it sits now, we broke up our IPFS into, arguably little sections of, what they are, okay? We have an arcade section with working games. We have a musical section with working musical, tools and things of that nature. The most recent, the Mayo mental thing up there, as a effing joke, okay? We got time to create this stuff because we're not under an NDA and we're not working for any company now. But the minute that, Apple, all these music folks and stuff like that see that we can add a cryptographically executable witness, verifiable on Kaggle and things of that nature, well, it's going to be game over for poor old Shyzabox working with the general public. Okay? Well, not necessarily. Okay? This show will always be free. Okay? We'll never negate against that, and who knows? Maybe no company will ever want to, get any kind of digital fingerprint content object identifier, cryptographically executable witness seal, okay, verifiable, computational, digital fingerprint seal on the files that they offer for sale to their public, so that if they do have to ever go through any legal entailments, okay, that cost them upwards of hundreds of $millions proven if you were to look into the numbers and math yourselves, okay, on all these different legal cases, not to mention the bog down of the legal apparatus itself, all right, on all of these cases where you're trying to see who owns what, who owns where. The minute that it has a cryptographically executable witness, okay, CEW, all right, we can make it, all right, we can make it for a company, okay, they can sell that tech thence to whoever they want, okay. Now good old Shyzabox has an open source now for free, so anyone can cryptographically executably witness their own creations and things of that nature. That's under Apache 2.0 licensing, and that's on Kaggle right now, okay? Go to town, okay? Make that of which you wish to or will. The minute that these companies realize that they can safeguard all of their stuff and then sell out codes to other people, not only that, but digitally offer like albums and musicians, files and things of that nature as working just drop-in files to a music player, I mean, it's an entire game changer. That's going to save them money astronomically on the back end. And the minute that, companies realize that you're able to have people house and host their own files as far as metrics for, these data, ventures and all of these informations with which data they need to house, it's going to alleviate so much stress and strain on that for them as well. It's going to pay off in droves for their, decoupling from the financial costs of heat sink and, having to dissipate all of this extra, entropy they take on, all right, from having all of these files and having all of this digital data that just accumulates, and, therefore, in essence, never adequately dissipates. It's just more information and stuff they have to house. It's like every time you go and eat a meal somewhere. Hi, bestie. Hey, Rue, welcome back. Of course we remember you from yesterday. It's like it was yesterday. We can call you Rue, right? Of course we can. Our money. If there's one thing that we remember, it's you from yesterday. Of course we do. And if we were to recollect as well, we do think, and even without you mentioning it, that you were our bestie. And believe you me, now that you have mentioned it, that yes, we are indeed besties, we are reminded that indeed, yes, we are. Of course we are. That's right. We were talking about, it doesn't matter. You're here now, Rue, and besties don't talk about crap. We talk about stuff of viability. That's right. So, Rue, we can call you Rue, right? Yeah, of course we can. We're besties. Our money. What do you want us to make and add to the IPFS site? Okay? We got Mayo Mental demo up now. All right, it's working. Okay? Go. If you went to the site yesterday, you might have to clear your cache, depending on what browser you use. Okay? Delete the data. It's weird. Okay? These companies like Chrome and even, it's kind of a pain on Edge sometimes for little updates on these, sites and stuff because they're self-published, self-hosted, things of that nature. But right now, okay, our money, Rue, we can call you Rue, right? Yeah, of course we can. Rue, you have our ear. You have our attention. Okay? You want us to upgrade something else that's on the site? You want, a program of sorts? You want a type of instrument as a digital instrument to play for free? I don't know. The options are endless. Okay? It's all on what you feel like taking it upon yourself to share with that of what you wish us to do. Because, believe you me, our money, we go back ones of streams ago, and believe you me, when you've been besties as long as we have, we think to ourselves, we would do anything for Rue. Not only because it's reminiscent of names of favorites within movies like The Hunger Games, okay? No. It's because inherently there's a connection, okay? And it stems from ones of streams ago. That's right. So when we think to ourselves, with Rue being here, okay, being our bestie, what inherently do we need to do to make their lives better, right? That's right. So we offer that of the limited services that we can, which are fairly massive in scope within reason, as long as it's not something that contradicts our morals or guidelines through. The floor is yours. You're welcome to ask. Should you choose, but feel no obligation to, because believe you me, we have the demos up and running now. We have everything of working order up and running now. So, unless you request us to improve upon, which we plan on doing with quite a variety and iteration of the games and demos on the IPFS site anyway, go to descriptification. In the descriptification, okay, go to the IPFS site. It's all there. You can, check it out for yourselves. See what maybe needs to be prioritized. Feel free to go to Bluesky. Send us a little commenty thing on there, or a little requesty westy. Okay, we'll be friends. We'll be besties there too. And it'll be easier. You can be like, hey, Shyzabox, think you could add that crossbow design you were talking about? We plan on doing it. Sounds awesome. We made a note about it. Okay. We're going to upgrade Mayo mental. I mean, it's just stuff randomly that we're planning on doing now. So, you want us to do anything else while we're not under an NDA, while we're not working for a company, while we're not making money. That's not a joke, Internet. We'll peddle our wares. We'll continue peddling our literary endeavors and things of that nature every waking moment and chance that we get. It's not a joke. How else are we going to afford on the back end, okay, to keep bringing all these awesome free games? When we were writing the new non-native species on mankind's origin, okay, we thought to ourselves, why is it that history and contradictions thereto have arisen and developed throughout times of time past to such a degree, to such a happening, that it single-handedly, all right, at times, just conflated the entire timeline of what humanity knew to be human existence, right? This is a good book. We like this book. Now, we're not just saying that because we wrote it. Even in considering reading a quote. Okay? Here's one. Let's see how this goes over, Internet. Here's a quote from the book. Okay? Now, this one's probably not going to be a favorite of a few people. Some people might actually get a little upset. That's right. But it's the Internet. Yeah, that's right. Get ready for a quote from the new non-native species, okay, on mankind's origin, okay? Now, we don't know if we've ever necessarily given a quote from this work before, on stream especially, but we are going to give a quote from this work right now. Now, you can find the new non-native species on mankind's origin on Kindle Unlimited, on Amazon.com. Just search Shyzabox books, okay? Shyzalosophy. The apparatus, okay, that exists, that houses, the literary endeavors that we undertake, okay, to try and make a meager means of subsistence living. You laugh, Internet. We have to peddle our wares and make stuff somewhere. We can't just have a bunch of free games on our IPFS like we do and not try and get a buck. Point is that as we venture to read a quote from this literary work, okay, available on Amazon.com, Kindle Unlimited, we need to, obviously, because we took a little intermission, we were back in 5 minutes, we had a little break, okay, Joey could have crept in any way, shape, or form in that time frame. That's right. Not good, Internet. Not good. Okay? So because Joey could have crept in, all right, we need to take it upon ourselves to do another cleansing of the entire area. That's right. Now, we wanted to just read the quote right away, get right into new non-native species on mankind's origin, okay? But we can't do that with the chance of Joey being around the area. That's right. So, we are going to resort yet again to the antics of the 90s, the early 2000s, mostly the 90s, and cleanse the air once again so that we can adequately put into the aether a reading from one of our literary endeavors, okay? But you can't just read from one of our works and not have a cleaned out environment or stratosphere with which to hear, okay? So again, we'll venture into and cleanse the area. It takes 3 times. Everyone knows that. All right, excellent. Air's cleansed. We can read, from the literary works now. All right, let's see how this one goes over internet. All right. Hate speech is not real. Hating that of a message is. Hating that of a person is. Hating that of a grouping of words in a certain order of conveyance is. Wow. That sounded like some good old philosophical entertainment to me. Believe you me. If we were left with such thoughts and cliffhangers as that, we would want nothing more than to go to Amazon.com and pick up one of our literary works. When we strive to create, when we desire to impart that of our consciousness, that of our psyche, okay, that of our being, okay, with those who will take part in it, that will accept it, that will play with any component or aspect of it, okay? We love the opportunity to even have the chance to share any sort of component or aspect with what we make with that of who wants to impart or take it upon themselves to play with that, right? When we wrote Pickled Punk Philosophy, okay, it was out of angst, okay? It was out of fun. It was out of desire, okay, to soak the literary words of philosophy in literal brine, okay? That's why it's soaked in brine. Now you can't see that, it's reversing backwards, don't worry about it. But Pickled Punk Philosophy is thusly soaked in brine, okay? Now, it doesn't smell like that, okay? So don't think that it's one of the scratch and sniff books or things of that nature, right? Because it's not. Pickled Punk Philosophy, right, is a direct result of Delectable being shut down, okay? And Delectable wasn't shut down. If anything, Delectable was propped up, right? That's why we tell people, don't go buy the physical copy of Delectable, right? It got propped up to such a degree when we moved a metric kernel of data from Jupyter to HTML over onto Web3 from a Kaggle server, man, that Delectable itself had to rise, right, as far as its ability to be a representation of that of what it needs to be, okay? So we tell people, do not pick up a physical copy of that one as it is to up there, but it's principality, not monetarily out of necessity, okay? Now, obviously, the knowledge contained therein, priceless, okay? Theoretically. That's right. But, good old Shyzabox, okay? We know that people don't want to entertain the metaphysical, the advanced philosophy. They don't want to entertain the angstiness, okay? They don't want to entertain the humanity components and aspects, okay, of philosophy itself, okay? For their philosophical entertainment. They don't care about, necessarily anything that's more endeavored-minded on that. But for some individuals, ourselves included, we love ourselves good old-fashioned theological philosophy. That's right. And it's because we love theological philosophy so much that we constantly enjoy going back through any of our palimpsests, any of our, literary endeavors and things of that nature, all right, that really correspond to that of theological philosophy, okay? Now, here's a couple of them here. We got Bless Us, Father, for we have sinned. This one's Why Hast Thou Forsaken Me? Transmutating God, okay? We offer theological works because metaphysics, okay, is crazy. It's all tied up into what contains the psyche and thought of one's being, right? When it is correlated to virtually every single component and aspect, okay, of what philosophy is, of what words are, of what meaning inherently is, okay? So, when you are correlating our desire, okay, to impart our works, our literary endeavors, our strides to, share that of what we create, okay, just know that you don't need to take upon yourself anything you wish not to, as we invite only those who want to look into them. We do our little, readings and our little excerpts and our poetry readings and stuff like that, all fun, all in jest, all yes, right? But there's a level of sincerity to that of what we offer, okay, service-wise, literary-wise, okay, that we definitely appreciate the return on. We appreciate the feedback that we do get, and we are many, many thanks for those who impart that stuff upon us, okay? Very beneficial, very nice, things of that nature. So, as we round out the rest of our, kind of Sunday morning activity here, afternoon, early-ish, whatever, okay? And we have in place now the steps of where we wish to go with, different things that we're conceptualizing, all right? Now we have the crossbow thing. That'll be pretty cool. We'll try and get that up and running. We'll let you, all ones of you, know. We have the Mayo Mental demo up now, all right? We'll try and improve that, get it a better working iteration or version up and running, okay? And we'll let you know. That's right. Yeah. We create to share, and we love to share what we create, okay? And the best thing about all components and aspects of what we do is that we don't need the reciprocation on everyone who wants to even entertain the idea of gracing their own lives with that of its presences that we offer, okay? As we round out our morning escapade here on the digital venue and apparatus that is the Wild West of digital landscape, okay, and file placement, product placement, storage design, whatever, as we go and entertain the rest of what we embark on the day, we realize we should probably still add that poetry section we talked about a couple streams back. Yeah, alright, so that's 3 things on the list. That's alright, we'll get to it. No one's paying us, so we don't have to. We leave stuff as it is. It's the beauty of it. Okay? Everyone's entitled to their day off. And we hope that if everyone does get a day off, their day of Sunday's rest, okay, your Sabbath, if you will, okay, hope that you are able to actively pursue all of that with which you wish to in the means and endeavors with which you're able to. Okay? Because if there's one thing that we love being able to do ourselves, it's share that of what we make and create. So therefore, we wish upon yourselves the ability to do that of what you wish to do as well. Whatever you do. It's what makes us besties, right, Rue? Obviously. Because not only do we look out for we want to look out for thee. That's right. So, as we sit back, as we think to ourselves, upon leaving the stream in the semblance of manner that it is now, do we impart a theological reading, okay? Because we've done poetry, we've done thought. Do we do a little touch base of the theological, okay, of the workings of our inner mind? Okay. Got someone out there wanting us to do that, celebrating us saying that. Well, must mean that you want one last reading before we go. We're going to read from Why Hast Thou Forsaken Me? Okay. Now, this one, like we said, this is theological work, okay, for philosophical. Okay. And believe you me, every good old-fashioned philosopher probably needs to touch base with a couple iterations of form of being. That's right. And we don't shy behind or hide behind any of that of which we do. That's right. You know, Internet, the passage we're going to read right now correlates to our works to such a degree that we can't help but think we wrote this exactly just for us in this moment in time. That's right. This is a passage from Why Hast Thou Forsaken Me by Shyzabox, Shyzalosophy, available on Amazon.com, Kindle with the Unlimited. Where one attempt is moderate in the realm of success, the moderation that fails to live up to its potential thence can only be construed into a final perception into that being an endeavor of failure, and not of iotas of measurable success. Now, there's one thing that rounds out the entire show. It's us departing with that thought, not only for you, the ones of fans that see this. Hi, Mom. But it resonates with us to such a degree that it keeps us busy wanting to bring to you that of what we can. That's right. So as we finish off this sip 7 cup of coffee, yes, laughter warranted, we're hilarious. As we finish off this sip 7th cup of coffee, yes, funny, yes, we think to ourselves, be sure that if you do venture out into our site and you fall in love with the games and you want to kick a quarter into the arcade, okay, you want to go to Cashapp, throw us any love there, you want to go start a Kindle Unlimited, account and read some of our literary books where we get 0.04 cents per page read, it all adds up. We appreciate it. Okay? Every single endeavor. But if there's one thing that we must strive to drive home, it's that no matter what, even though, yes, we want your money, it's the humanity in us. It shines through, okay? We try not to let it, but it does, okay? As being claimed, Daryl Dixon Dibs on the best of the worst internet celebrity there is. That's right, that's us. Daryl Dixon Dibs. As we claimeth that title and that, area of dwelling, okay, if you will, you know where to split the rats at. Right here with us. We cannot drive home the importance enough of the fact that no matter what, you need to take care of yourself first, okay? Those who need it more than us, second, okay? those that you might like and or love more than us. Unlikely, but maybe. Okay, perhaps. Third. All right. But any other piddly squat, loose change, anything you got left over, that's fair game. We love that. That's right. And with the weekend being drawn near, keep in mind, Internet, any of your buddies or friends that ditched you on plans to go out to the bar on Friday or Saturday, they still got their, pretty much full paycheck probably, but they don't. Means that they owe you a drink and you can send them to Amazon to buy one of our books and we both make out good. That's right. Yeah, we get a buck, you get a drink. If that's your desire, But be sure that you desire to do that of what you need to do for yourself and those around you that you love and those that need it more than us, before you even contemplate breaking off such a endeavor or piece. That's right. And with that, Internet, as we're done with our sip 7th cup of coffee. Yes, you're funny. We must impart to thee that that's going to do it for us. If you want to get out of here before us, now's your chance. Otherwise, we don't want your subscription, we want your money. So downvote the shit out of this, go to Cashapp and give us a buck, or go to Amazon.com, buy any of our literary books. Just search Shyzabox books.